What's up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? It is your boy, the Supreme B-Man, and I have returned from a little small hiatus. Well, mainly because, life stuff comes up and you have to, prioritize your time. So I will, up front, I will tell you guys, I apologize for not putting any content in the past couple of weeks or so. If anybody who has been following and liking the videos and commenting and whatnot, apologize for that. But for this video, it is one of those discussion videos that I go into talking about a lot of the gaming world and gaming stuff. Obviously, from the title, it is mainly about Evo. Evo is one of the biggest events that happens every year, and it's basically the fighting games equivalent of E3 slash one of a tournament, a huge tournament, and the best players play some of the best games within the fighting game genre. There's a list of games that is going to be played at Evo, but I'm not going to go into detail about those games because I would rather talk about the stuff that we haven't seen yet, or stuff that we haven't heard from yet, or things that we are kind of speculating that's going to show up at Evo. Like I said before, this is technically the fighting game genre's E3, and this is the time for a lot of the gaming companies, some gaming companies that's been kind of hiding in the dark, waiting for this opportunity to maybe showcase some of the new stuff that they have. And I am going to have this little mini series of videos that goes into detail about each and every little fighting game company that I'm kind of keeping an eye on, and I'm paying a lot of attention. A lot of the stuff that you guys may have already known, but I'm just going to try to chime in and, join the conversation out there in the interwebs, on the FGC and whatnot, and to anybody who's interested in these set of videos. So let's begin with this very first video, which is mainly going to talk about Capcom and better yet, where are they? Best way to put it is, where is Capcom? Where have they been? Where have they been hiding? And what are they currently working on? What is your daddy and what does he do? That's basically what Capcom is at this moment in time. They haven't really showcased anything except for the Resident Evil remake, which is still going on. I'm not sure if all of the DLC is out by now, but that's one of the big things that they were able to release. I think it was this year. I want to say this year, or it was last year, but it was one of those things that people still to this day still play, and they're still kind of paying attention to, and waiting on release dates and stuff like that. And then there's Devil May Cry that just got released as well, and then on top of that, there's a lot of the Monster Hunter DLC stuff, with Iceborne coming out pretty soon, along the long run, and a huge lifespan of Monster Hunter content. But one of the biggest things to Capcom is that it's not known for the hack and slashing games or the horror third-person shooting games. It's mainly about the fighting games. It's what made Capcom Capcom, and so far Street Fighter V is still holding on strong. But one of the big problems with Street Fighter V, it's kind of on its last leg right now. And it recently, last year, it released its last bundle of DLC content, which, had a set of 5 or 6 characters added to that roster. And so, everybody's kind of speculating what else could they be kind of releasing for Street Fighter. I don't know what else that they could add to Street Fighter V, other than characters, obviously. And a lot of people are looking forward to maybe seeing a bundle of characters that hasn't shown up in Street Fighter V. The best way to kind of have a little bit of longevity for one of your fighting games is to add more content to it. but I feel like the content for Street Fighter 5 is pretty much done. It's said and done. And right now, people are playing Smash Brothers. They're playing MK11. They're playing a couple of anime games here and there that's just been released. And so Street Fighter 5 is kind of being pushed back into the wayside, and not too many people's really paying too much attention to it. So what I want to do is kind of like go into maybe the near future, and maybe at Evo, Capcom is going to release maybe a teaser trailer, maybe a snippet, maybe a screenshot of maybe the next big fighting game title that they may have. And I have 3 games that I speculate that they're probably going to showcase at Evo. So the first game is, obviously, considering the fact that we are already talking about Street Fighter 5, I'm thinking that they're going to showcase Street Fighter 6. Street Fighter 6 is probably going to be somewhat or maybe a continuation of what Street Fighter 5 is. I mean, they're not going to release it this year because we're almost at the end of the year. Almost. We only got like 6 more months left. We're practically not 6 months, 6 more months, maybe about 4 or 5 months left. And so we're pretty much nailing down to towards the end of 2019, and so it is time for them to kind of move on from Street Fighter 5, like I said before, unless they really want to, push out DLC for that game just to give the fans just a little bit more before they decide to put it on the shelf. But I think showing a trailer or some type of snippet, or maybe just a clip of something that they've been working on, a new Street Fighter game, a Street Fighter 6 game that's going to be for the new PS5 and the Xbox Scarlet, and maybe whatever powerful Nintendo Switch console that Nintendo will have next year. And I say Xbox and Switch is because, Street Fighter 5 unfortunately was exclusive to Sony. And honestly, I don't understand that when you can clearly buy Street Fighter 5 on PC. So, and technically those are mostly Microsoft machines, so it doesn't make sense to not put Street Fighter 5 also on Xbox. And then of course, with crossplay being a thing that video game companies are now paying attention to, and a lot of gamers are now really kind of crying out for, because there's no reason for them to go out and go buy another $500 to $600 console when they already have that game and a console that can play that game and pretty much has the same frame rate as, say, on like a PlayStation. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't make sense for them to kind of just say, here you go, Sony, only you can have the entire Street Fighter line. That's not fair. That's my personal take on it, as a guy who sees all the consoles as equal. They all have their strengths and weaknesses. I just personally think Street Fighter 5 should have been on Xbox as well as PlayStation, and maybe in between there, maybe a Switch version to Street Fighter 5 or something. That's just my opinion on that, but I want Street Fighter 6 to be on all the consoles. I don't want to be exclusive to Sony or exclusive to Xbox. I think Capcom is that kind of video game company that kind of want to throw out everything at everybody and trying to put it on all the consoles that they can put it on. So Street Fighter 6 would be perfect for that. As for like characters and stuff, obviously you get your Ryus and your Chun-Lis, your Akumas and stuff like that. But I think it's going to go more into maybe the Third Strike era of characters, and maybe some new characters, maybe some new added mechanics. I'm not sure if everybody really loved that V-Trigger stuff. It's basically Street Fighter's version of X Factor from Marvel. And so it's like, I don't know, there's a lot of possibilities. I just want to see maybe, a new Street Fighter game being announced, and maybe some new stuff. Moving on to the second game, because I don't want to waste too much of you guys' time, but moving on to the second game is going to be either Marvel 4, or you want to call it 5. I want to call it 4 because Marvel Infinite, to me, I don't want to say it doesn't count, but it doesn't count in the realms of saying it's part of that number category of games. It was kind of basically a offshoot of Marvel 3. It was an expansion. And so I think Marvel Infinite just wasn't the game that Capcom was looking. They were looking forward to people buying the game. It was a flop, unfortunately. And I'm not sure with the relationship between Marvel and Capcom. I don't know if they're still buddies, or if Capcom can still make fighting games from them, or what. I don't know if Marvel is looking to maybe look at somebody else to do fighting games for them. I'm not 100% sure, but if Capcom is still in the cool runnings into making fighting games for Marvel, then I think it's time to give the fans, all of the fans, including myself, because I'm a guy who preached out all about not Street Fighter, but Marvel Infinite. I made so many videos about Marvel Infinite, talking about the characters, the mechanics, all that stuff, and I don't even have the game. No, I can't really say too much about it when I don't even own the game, but I saw enough of the game and saw what I saw, heard what I heard, and I gave out my opinions about it. And one of the things that really stopped me from buying the game was that it didn't have characters that I was looking forward to. Well, it had characters in there that I didn't want, and it didn't have characters that I actually wanted. You know what I'm saying? It didn't have the X-Men. It didn't have Fantastic Four. It didn't have any of the Darkstalker characters that I was hoping for that was going to show up. They censored the game fully, all because of esports and stuff like that, because the kids and whatnot. But you look at games like Mortal Kombat, and it's like, who cares about all that? You know what I'm saying? You got 10-year-olds playing Mortal Kombat 11 right now, so who cares about censorship? Real talk. But I'm not 100% sure with all that stuff, and there was just a lot of problems with Marvel Infinite, and so I feel that Marvel 4 would be a much better expansion, not an expansion, not a base off of Marvel 3, a completely new game, different story, different characters, an entire roster of characters that people will love to play with and figure out the mechanics with. I literally turn to Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 that just came out for the Switch, and if you look at that roster of Marvel characters, that is the Marvel roster that we needed in Marvel Infinite. That should have been in Marvel Infinite from the get-go. But of course, there's a lot of stuff in there that Marvel didn't have rights to. But then again, Capcom could have talked to somebody about it and maybe could have done something with it. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't work for them and I don't work with them. Even though a lot of people tend to look up information and stuff like that. But then again, everybody's getting a whole lot of information that they're not 100% about. So let's just say we hear this from this person, hear that from that person, and try to relay it back the best that we can. All I'm saying is Marvel Infinite was not the best of the Marvel franchise. And so Marvel vs. Capcom 4, I think there should be a screenshot, there should be a trailer, there should be an announcement, there should be something. Capcom should be able to come out up front and be like, we're sorry for Marvel Infinite, here's Marvel 4. That's all I'm saying. And the last game on this list that I think that Capcom's probably working on is probably a Capcom All-Stars game, where they pretty much showcase their entire Capcom roster of characters and pin them all together. Why worry about Marvel? Why worry about Namco Bandai? Why worry about any of the other fighting game companies? Let's just focus on our own characters. We got plenty of characters from the Capcom library. If you have a Capcom character encyclopedia, there's nothing but tons of characters that they can use in a singular Capcom All-Stars fighting game. We're talking Street Fighter characters, we're talking Monster Hunter characters, Darkstalker characters, Resident Evil characters, Devil May Cry characters, and Mega Man characters. We can go all back to the very arcaded days of Capcom and just find so many characters that they can use. So it's crazy. And so I believe that a Capcom All-Stars kind of fighting game, 2D fighting game, would be perfect. especially if they are working on Street Fighter 6, which they're obviously going to be working on. I mean, why would they not be working on Street Fighter 6? They just don't want to tell us because just like at E3 with like Sony and Microsoft not talking about their next gen consoles because they didn't have their next gen consoles to actually talk about, just them mentioning it, or if not, showing a logo of the console or whatever, it's just a I feel like the fans just want something, and I think, giving them a Capcom All Stars game before the actual big time product of like Street Fighter 6 or a Marvel vs. Capcom 4 or 5, however you want to go it, would be perfect for them right now, and over say a game that's kind of half done. I want them to take their time with Capcom All Stars if that's the game that they're working on, or the Marvel or the Street Fighter, whichever game it is. I just want to hear something from Capcom. I mean, they have their game being front and center at E3. I mean, not at E3, Evo. At Evo this year. So Street Fighter 5 is still going on strong, but like I said, it's on its last leg, and so we gotta give them something. You know what I'm saying? Give them a bone. Give them something to nibble on in the meantime. Just a trailer, a screenshot, maybe an announcement, anything would be perfect. So, anyways, guys, enough of me rambling. That's pretty much all I gotta say about this first video of the Evo video series. And so what I need you guys to do, if you don't mind, hit that like button. If you like the video, hit that subscribe button, because I'm going to be uploading a bunch of videos very, very soon, as soon as possible, because I'm going to try to do as many videos as possible and get this done way before Evo even starts. So, and hit that comment below, section below, and let me know what your thoughts about Capcom, what Capcom game that you're looking forward to, and maybe something, do you agree with me? Maybe we do need just a little something, a screenshot, a trailer or something, or what Capcom game, fighting game that you're looking forward to. Let me know in the comments below. And as always, guys, it is your boy, the Supreme B-Man, and I will see you guys next time. Deuces.